Now, what we're doing is I actually have 4 guests with me. There is one person who's not on camera, but they are present. So unfortunately, I don't see them on screen here in the live, but they are present, and I will be calling them out and I will be inviting them to share. And so what I will do is I will be having the panelists introduce themselves. And the topic for today is Splenic Authority. That is what we're going to focus on. And my panel is comprised of projectors. So specifically Splenic Authority for projectors. So we have some people you recognize in the panel, and we have some new guests as part of the panel. So I'm very excited to go through that. So first and foremost, I will have my co-pilot, my ride or die human design portal co-founder, Tammy Mack, introduce herself. Tammy, why don't you go ahead?
Hello, everyone. My name is Tammy Mack. I am an energetic alignment mentor and an intuitive channel. I'm really excited to talk about being a splenic projector today because it's so important to understand how to use our intuition with our strategy and as our authority. So I'm really excited to talk about that today.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Tammy. I also have Brigitte, who is a group expert in Human Design Portal. So Brigitte, please introduce yourself. Oh, you are on mute.
Of course, someone had to do that first, right? I am calling in from Los Angeles, California, and I am a human design behavioral coach. I work with people who are trying to use human design to improve their relationships at work, at home, with themselves, families. And now I'm moving into doing group coaching work. And I too am excited to talk about my splenic authority because, I have a few things to say.
Awesome. All right, Shannon.
Hi, welcome everybody from beautiful Sun Valley, Idaho. I'm a mindset and clarity coach as well as a human design specialist, and really my passion is helping people really motivate them to let go of those old stories and limiting beliefs that keep them stuck so they can really show up in the highest way possible for themselves and others. And learning about human design and learning about being a projector was probably one of the biggest life-changing experiences that I've had in recent times. And I'm excited to be invited to share my experience in being a splenic authority.
Excellent, Shannon. Great to have you. And Kai. Now, Kai, on the live stream, your image doesn't seem to show up, but I do absolutely want to acknowledge your presence for everyone. So, Kai, would you please introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Marla. Yeah, I'm living in Portugal since 4 years. I say the quotation marks one of my past life in Germany. I was working scientifically with energy systems, and in 2017 I had a strong spiritual awakening experience, which changed my whole perspective on life in this world, and left everything behind, moved to Portugal, and through different serious health issues, I'm on the way and deep healing, and go now into the direction of, with my own experience of becoming a therapeutic coach, specializing on trauma, work with different techniques, and quantum human design or human design changed my life about 3 years ago when I got introduced to it tremendously.
Lovely. Well, thank you for that, Kai. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Marla Mack. I am an aligned business guide and advanced human design specialist. And my website is yourgenius.net. And I'm really all about using human design to help you really get clear on your natural gifts and talents, your deep purpose and mission, and your energy, so you can build an aligned business for sustainability and joy, and not only joy in your life, but joy in your bank account. So there we go. So I'm very glad to have a wonderful panel of projectors here to speak to. Everybody with different experience, different process, and realizations with their human design, and actually even learning and implementing human design in their practice, in their business, in their life in very different ways. And as a 1-3, I am a 1-3 emotional manifesting generator. I have been, I'm aware of the value of the one, of the learning and the investigation, but where I think the real magic happens is in the 3, right? The trial and error, the life experience, and how things show up. And what really helps people is hearing stories from others about their journey of discovering human design and integrating human design into their lives, and how that really gives them the permission slip to be ultimately themselves, and all the nuances that come from the experience of being, of having their human design keynotes, and how that all shows up in their life in a more subtle way, to really understand the depth and what that permission actually looks like, that I call it unapologetic permission to be radically yourself. So without further ado, I am not the star of this show. I would love to showcase my lovely projectors. So the first question I'm going to ask, and then I'm going to call you out to answer, is what was your experience, or just give me, the Cliff Notes or the Coles Notes or the shortened version of your experience when you discovered you were a projector and had this thing called Splenic Authority, very intuition-based authority. So, Brigitte, why don't I start with you?
When I first learned my human design, I was really excited about the part that said I needed more rest, maybe, and to prioritize rest more than the other types. I honestly don't believe I heard much else after that. And then when I received my first human design reading from Karen, I learned a little bit more about strategy and how to manage that rest, and how to make sure I wasn't doing anything that was burning me out, right? But the part about Splenic Authority, honestly, I don't even have a memory of seeing that, even though it was on my chart, right? I don't have a memory of seeing that. As years went by and I was teaching it and training, and, so I still didn't really pay attention to it. So honestly, I have to say that was probably because I didn't understand it. My background, my development through life from child up was within a group of people that I will just lightly call a cult, where you're not really allowed to have your own thoughts. Any intuition that you have is stifled, any doubts that you have about anything. So it's only dawned on me, like in the last 3 years or so, that by living my strategy, I've actually trained my intuition. I've brushed it off. It was always very, very strong, but it was always squelched. So I ended up not trusting myself at all. So the question was, when did I become aware of my intuition piece? Just probably, I've been practicing human design for 17 years. And I want to say it's probably in the last 3 years that I can say, oh my gosh, that's it. And I almost describe it as possibly what a sacral feels like if I had a sacral, because it's really a physiological hit. Like I get a nervous stomach right away. Like it almost feels like a gut punch. So it's like my strategy and my Splenic Authority have blended into one. I don't see them as different pieces. And I honestly didn't pay attention to strengthening my spleen or doing anything with it. I just let it ride along with me as I practiced my strategy. Is that helpful?
It is, because your experience with not immediately identifying with Splenic Authority and trusting intuition might really be the case for other people. So I'm glad that you brought it up. I will be asking again on the next round a little bit more about, your experience with it and how it shows up. But that is important for people to understand, because, from one perspective, I think authority is a hugely, hugely powerful tool. Sorry, it just it looked like the video just went off on Facebook. No, I think it's probably okay.
I can still see it.
Okay.
I can
We're
see
still there. Great.
Yeah.
It just went black on me. So yeah, so the first thing is I think authority, if people were to take one thing away from human design, is their authority or their decision-making authority, or knowing how they are designed to make decisions, to me is probably one of the most pivotal pieces. Although it's really hard to separate the value and piece it out, right? Because it's a 1 + 1 + 1 = unlimited, right? When it comes to human design. So, but really dialing in and understanding how you're naturally designed to make decisions, in my opinion, is like, if you're early days and you're going to take anything away from human design, that, could be that would be really valuable. But I can also see how some people, no matter what their no matter what their authority is, can have difficulty sometimes tapping in because they have been so conditioned, right, to work in a way that doesn't align with that. So thank you for bringing that up. Right. Tammy. So the question was about your life and when you discovered you were a projector, and more specifically a splenic projector, right? Based on spleen, intuition, all that.
So when I first found out that I was a projector, it was kind of like a wah wah, to be quite honest with you. Because I'm a Capricorn ascendant. I am a busy, busy woman. I have a lot of energy. And even though, yes, it made sense, this is why I've experienced multiple burnouts in my life, I was still kind of like, oh, like I have to slow down. I don't want to. It was really, really, really hard. And then when I found out, when I read my incarnation cross and it was talking about the spleen and, all about security and stuff like that, and survival, once again, I was like, wah, wah. That doesn't feel very sexy at all. And it wasn't until I got a reading myself, right? There's me investigating it and having my own mindset, my own thoughts about it. And then when I had somebody read it to me and read it in a different language and with a little bit more empowerment, I was like, okay, this feels better to me. But when I first took the dive myself and looked at traditional language and just did my own, it wasn't very empowering, but I wasn't in an empowered spot, right? So it really is, what energy are you at when you take in that energy versus, when you do it yourself, you're doing it through a narrow mindset of you're looking for the excuse or the reasons why you are the way you are, instead of opening up to the abundance of what your human design chart really tells you. So I'm intuitive. I've been intuitive all my life. So listening to my intuition has always been super easy. My struggle is with the energy aspect of it, because I have tons of energy until I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. And just for people to know your design, you have two defined centers, your spleen and your will center. And that one channel, the 2644, and then you're open everywhere else. Or undefined, at least, undefined. White. That's the nice sort of easy way to say it, is you have, 7 white centers. And so I think that's also valuable for people to know and understand about projector nature, is it doesn't mean you have no energy. And, there are things that are said, which I believe can be misleading, in terms of these blanket statements. And so, thank you for mentioning that and identifying that, because that's important for people to know and understand that you're still incredibly unique with how you operate. And so there's the top level, and then there's, of course, how things show up for you. Excellent. Thank you. Shannon.
Well, when I found out about being a projector, a friend of mine got into human design about 7-8 years ago. And so she did a reading for me because, when you first start out, you read for everybody. And when she explained to me about being a projector, it was incredibly eye-opening, because being a projector, having only 2 defined centers, I have a really good ability to mirror whoever I'm with. And I was in an incredibly high-powered job. I was a corporate event planner for a Fortune 50 company, and everybody around me was probably generators and manifestors. And I had an extreme case of burnout when I hit 50 because I was just plugging into everybody's energy and using it, willy-nilly or what have you. And so a little bit different from Tammy, when I found out about the energy, it was like I finally had permission to realize that I didn't have an unlimited resource, that I really had to pay attention to what I had available. But the interesting thing about the Splenic Authority for me was, as I began to study it, I did my husband's chart. My husband is a emotional generator. And when we have to make a decision about something as a Splenic Authority, it's lightning fast. It's in the moment, yes or no. And for him, as an emotional generator, he has to go through the whole wave. And we've been married pretty long time, but it was a real source of contention because I was like, gee, can you hurry up and make a decision? And he was always like, why do you have to say yes so quickly? I have to think about this. Well, once I understood the process, I realized I have to give him time to come to a decision, and he has to accept the fact that I just know in the moment and then I move on. So being able to understand the whole mechanics of Splenic Authority was a real useful piece in my marriage, I would say. So.
Oh, definitely a lifesaver. Yes. And you're right. I mean, one of the beauties of human design is you realize that, everybody is unique. Everybody has their own process and way of operating. And whatever their process is not personal.
Exactly.
Right. He needed time because he needed time. And it wasn't that he was trying to do something to you or, get in your way. That was just his process. And I find that's one of the absolute beauties of human design is that you stop judging yourself for being the way you are. And you just inadvertently stop judging others as well, because then you see them for the way they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. Kai.
Yeah, thanks, Marla, for this question. It's especially interesting to me because when I found out that I'm a projector about 3 years ago, before I basically lived a life of a generator, and through different conditionings and also childhood trauma, I was always pushing things forward, and it often didn't work out. And to understand that I'm a projector was really giving me a lot of insights about how I did things in the past. And especially with the connection of the Splenic Authority, it was for me a very difficult process, as I was throughout my lifetime as a childhood from these traumas suppressing many emotions. I didn't have a good access to my emotions. I dissociated from my body to actually feel the intuition. Although I always knew that I have a good intuition because, afterwards I could often say, I knew it kind of, but in the moment I didn't trust it. I didn't even feel it. So only in the last years, when I understood this, I was able to, pay more attention, get this gut feeling back, and pay more attention to how I do my decisions. So even though when I was not trusting, it was not easy for me to still like, is this now mine or is it not mine? Like to differentiate where it's coming from, because many other also with the open will, open centers where still today I'm struggling, like, okay, what is mine and what is not mine, and where's what coming from? But only by the work that I did to get this feeling again, I could really start to trust my intuition and work with it and do the decisions alongside.